everybody, and welcome to the Flute Practice. Today I'm going to walk you through some of the trickier trills and how to really practice these guys. Trills are something that we don't often think about as like we need to practice this, but we really do need to practice trills. And today I'm going to show you which trills we particularly need to practice and how to do it. Okay, so the first really big thing you're going to want to use is your metronome. This guy, I've done a whole video series on why it's so important. So you're going to want it. So I would really recommend getting it out and getting going with it. So before we start, I'm going to flag some of the kind of nasty trill moments. Usually anything kind of involving your baby fingers is tricky. And the reason for that is they're just a little bit weaker than the other fingers, which makes them a little less independent than the other fingers. And you can definitely feel this when you're kind of tapping your fingers. You're like, these guys definitely are the most tricky to kind of work with. So any of the trills that involve the baby finger or the ring finger are usually going to be a little bit nastier. So this includes D to E flat trill. This includes even just E to D trill. Can be a really nasty one. Beginning of the D major Mozart concerto. You know what I'm talking about. And kind of somewhere in between any of these kind of computations. Nasty. E flat to E, also really nasty, especially nasty. Then on the other hand, we've got, of course, G to G sharp or G to A flat, even A to G sharp, although we can at least trill both fingers there, which makes it slightly easier because at least we're kind of moving them together. And of course, that lovely F sharp to G sharp, or D to E flat in that high register. Not fun. The last kind of, I'd say, group of trills that are nasty are the ones that involve the thumb. Can be quite tricky as well. Now, my philosophy on trills, generally, the rounder your fingers are, the easier they will be. I find when I'm trilling with a straight baby finger here and a straight baby finger here, I'm making my life much more difficult for myself than I need to. My experience has shown that when I get these fingers rounder and closer, they trill much easier. Same thing here. When I get that lovely balanced hand position, I find it's much easier to trill and I don't have to kind of like move my whole arm along with the trill, like, which I used to have to do when I first learned that D major concerto and my hand position was not quite there yet. Likewise with the thumb, for me the biggest problem, if you're trying to get the weight of the thumb, like if you're carrying the weight of the flute in the thumb, you are going to struggle because it's constantly having to shift the weight. Whereas if the thumb is already very free and not carrying the weight of the instrument, but rather allowing the weight of the instrument to come through there into the hand and down into the arm, this guy's free to actually move and do his thing. So you want to free it up. A nice little exercise for this is to just kind of hold the flute in the hand this way and just practice tapping that thumb nice and freely like that. So we're just practicing not having the weight on the thumb and allowing him just to be very nice and agile and fast. Guys, think about it this way. Your thumbs already are fast. You have spent most of your life typing on cell phones and whatnot. So trust me, your thumbs are in good shape. All right, now onto my little trill exercise technique here. I'm going to put my metronome on. I usually like to put it right down to 60, my favorite tempo marking. And what you're going to do is you're just going to do 2 notes on each beat for now. So we're going to do for now as a starting point, I'm going to do the G to G sharp trill because that for me is a really nasty, kind of traditionally nasty trill. So really getting that nice, I feel like my fingers wanting to kind of pull and lift a little bit. So you want to just really make sure that it's just that baby finger moving. And then we're going to do 3 on the beat. Now really stick with this beat. You can do this exercise without a metronome. I would not recommend it because this guy is helping you to really get absolute control of those fingers. So here I'm just really kind of trying to also relax the hand as much as possible, that I'm not kind of tense and tight. And then I want to do 4. Now, wherever you kind of hit your limit with this, you take a step back and you just chill and you say, okay, today that's my limit. Tomorrow I might be able to go a little bit further. This is training for the baby finger. Also, especially because it is your baby finger, it's very delicate and sensitive. Do not overdo it. Do not overdo it with this exercise. Please, also in this hand, do not overdo it. Little bits at a time and slowly build up that strength. Okay, we're going to try even 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. Nice little one, very tricky because you're kind of constantly alternating which note is going to be on the strong beat. Nice little one, tricky. Don't do it if it's too much. Rather do 6. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. And then we can do 8. And we're already almost getting into the trill, like we're already almost there. All that's going to happen from now on is we can kind of get faster and faster. So we could try even 9 or whatever, but eventually it's just going to kind of go into a nice free trill, which is going to be beautifully even, nice and measured, and not kind of like flopping all over the place. So even now, guys, honestly, that was like the limit of my trill. I'm like, okay, fingers tired, going to just take a little step back and chill out here. A nice little thing to practice, especially for kind of a Baroque and classical music, are trills that start from the top with a longer upper note and doing the little, what they call the Nachschlags, the little kind of resolution at the end. So for example, or with the F sharp even. That's a great one to practice, by the way. C sharp to B, nasty little trill. I tend to try and do it like this rather than using the trill keys, just because I do think it's possible and the sound is much more in tune and clean. So I prefer that. And in any case, for the 1 octave, we have to do it. So we may as well just practice it. I like to sometimes take a whole scale, so like a whole G major scale, and practice my trills just like that. Either just straight trills, and then also taking note, where are the problem trills? Like for me, that D to E, definitely not as nice as the other trills. So I'm practicing just kind of moving between those trills to really find, you know, something that's a little bit more even. And then also practicing them with that nice appoggiatura at the beginning. And keeping that metronome on the whole time. So, so, so important and so cool. You can also do it with the little endings. It's amazing how we also struggle to keep trills in time. If this exercise is feeling a little bit too tricky on 60, put it down slower, or even do it, subdivided over 2 beats rather than anything else. All right, everybody, those were just some kind of tips on how to practice these nice, tricky trills. They need to be practiced, they need to be looked at, and they need to kind of be kept in condition. Some of my trills certainly could use some practice, so I think I should go do some of that right now. Until then, everybody, happy practicing and see you next time.